Okay guys, after finally making my way through Maple Island and getting to level 10, it was time for me to go get a job, and I already had my mind set on becoming a warrior since my friend was telling me that they get like cool swords and some pretty cool looking armor and everything. So I just wanted to do my job advancement as a warrior. And I was actually surprised from my last video how many of you played since like I think you guys were like 7 or 8 years old since you started playing Maple. And I mean, when I started playing, I was only 13, so that was pretty surprising to me because I thought I was young playing the game, but a lot of you were like 8 years old, so it's pretty interesting. So I made my way to Perion, and then I had to find the job advancement place. I mean, back then this whole map looked way different, and it actually took me a while to find the place. So I finally made it, and then it was time for me to pick my job. Okay, so apparently I'm still a noob and I can't even advance. I don't even know how. I haven't even made an explorer in so long. But I think I have to click this and then I guess I had to talk to her in Maple Island and I actually ended up just skipping it instead of like leveling normally. So let's see if this works. So I told her I wanted to be a warrior. I ended up leveling to level 11 by accident because I kept clicking everything trying to see like how I can advance. But anyway, back to the story. So I ended up talking to Dances with Balrog, and then I wanted to become a warrior. And he was telling me like they have great strength and high HP, and yet they had like powerful powers and everything, right? So I wanted to become a warrior, and after becoming a warrior, I was pretty excited because, like I said, my friend was telling me that we can use swords, and we had like cool armor and everything. So I went to my skills, and I was just like, this is the first time using skills for me, so I wanted to make sure I had the perfect build. And I ended up going to Maple Tip, and I ended up finding a guide for Warrior, and they were telling me like you need to add to Power Strike, and then you actually need to add to Slash Blast. So this is pretty much my first build. I ended up maxing Power Strike, I think. I don't remember anymore. And I was finally a Warrior. I was pretty excited. And one of the great things about back then was that you actually didn't have any, like overpowered gear like we do now. You actually had to go to the NPCs in every town just so that you can get like the armor you need. Like if you were level 20, you had a new set of armor, level 30, you had a new set, and so on. And that part of Maple was very interesting to me. It was one of my favorite things to do, leveling up and getting new armor, new hats, new shoes, new gloves, a new weapon. And I mean, looking at these the first time, I was like, wow, this looks pretty cool. I can't wait till I hit like a certain level. I want to be able to wear this. I want that. And obviously, back then, I didn't even have like any mesos to afford most of this stuff. So I just had to make sure I loot the mesos that dropped. And I mean, just looking through all this stuff, I was like, wow, like this robe here. This is one of my favorites back then. I was very excited to hit level 30 just to equip it. And I mean, I just kept looking like, like this one was also one that I wanted to get. So I already had goals, I wanted to get like this level for this weapon. And the weapons weren't that cool early on. I mean, later on they improved obviously, but early on they weren't that cool, but there was still something that you wanted to aim for. So I was finally a warrior, and obviously the first thing you need to do is level up so that you can, add points into your skills and get a higher level. That way you can equip those new gear and everything. But actually back then I didn't even know that you can drag the skills to to like one of the keys on your keyboard settings, right? So the first time I actually went to go train, this is pretty much how I did it. I opened up my skill tab and I went up to a monster and I double clicked the skill so that I could attack. And I'm still a noob now, but back then I was a complete noob. I did not know anything about Maple. So I'm here double clicking, and one day my friend ran into me and he's like, "Why are you attacking so slow?" And I told him, "Oh, it's just my mouse, I click pretty slow." And he's like, "Why are you clicking the skills?" And I'm like, "Isn't that how you're supposed to attack?" And he's like, "No, you can actually drag the skills to your keyboard." And I was like, "Wow, really?" So I ended up dragging them, and I always used to put the skills on S and D and F. and I was one of those people that jumped with spacebar because I just felt it was better. I felt like if I needed to jump, I wanted to make sure I jumped right away. And after setting up everything, I had my skills on S, D, and F, and obviously jump on space. I was ready to go back to training. I finally had my skills on keys, so I didn't have to double click anymore. But after a while, I ended up gaining like a couple levels, and I got to like level 15, and I just became really bored with this class. Cause back then, I mean, if you wanted to go attack as a warrior, you had to get right close to the monsters, and back then they would hit like very high, so I was using a lot of potions. And the funny thing is that even back then, I was double clicking potions. I didn't know that you can put them on keys too. I thought it was only skills, but that's for another story because I ended up learning that pretty late in my Maple life. But anyway, so after being bored of this class already, I wanted to just go see other worlds, or I should say other towns. And I was just making my way through, different maps, just meeting new people and everything. And I ran into an archer, and this girl was like already in second job. She was like level 40 something, and I saw her attack, and I was like, wow, she just hit twice by shooting something, right? And I noticed that she had a cool bow, and I was like, wow, I think I'm gonna make one of those characters. And I asked her like, how do you become an archer? And she was telling me like, you go to Hennessy's, you talk to Athena, and you pretty much just become an archer, right? And you have to buy arrows, and you get to shoot them. So I told her, okay, you know what? Thanks for the information, and I ended up deleting this character and starting all over again. So after deleting my warrior and actually going through Maple Island and getting to level 10 again, I ended up talking to Athena and I became an archer. And my friend was nice enough to give me like some of the equips he had from like hunting and stuff. So I already had like a bow and I had some arrows and a couple, just like a top and some shoes. So I felt like I was pretty much ready to go take on the world with my little bow and my arrows. And thanks to Maple Tip, I was able to get the guide for an archer, and I knew what to add and everything. And I was pretty much, like I said, I was ready. I knew how to equip my skills now. I didn't have to double click them or anything. And I was about to go kill everything in my path in order to get to like level 40, because that girl was like, I think, level 42. And the equips she had were pretty cool. And I ended up looking at the male version of them, and they were even better looking than her. So I was pretty excited to getting to level 40. So right away, I mean, as soon as I shot my first arrow, I knew that I made the right choice in quitting warrior and making an archer. And just the whole long range attack was way better than short range. I ended up making a stupid mistake a few days later that made me quit my archer and actually made me quit Maple for the first time. But you guys are gonna have to wait for that in the next episode. But let me know in the comments, like, what was your first character? Were you an archer? Were you a warrior? Were you a mage? Or were you a thief? Or did you end up playing later where we already had like pirates and all the other classes? But let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.